Hello, welcome to Art Rant, and today I'm going to finally explain why I made a YouTube channel as a figurative painter. So after I finished my BFA in painting, I knew how to paint. To an extent, I knew what I was doing with painting, but when it came to art theory, I was clueless. I knew art history really well, up to like 16th century, a little bit of modern stuff, but I didn't understand contemporary art at all. And I would go to openings in Chelsea and I would see artists that are even younger than me making these works that were really moving and that were really good. And I felt like they weren't even better painters than me, but they understood contemporary art on another level. And they were able to make you feel with their work. They were able to, it was almost like they knew a different language that I didn't know, that was understood by painters, by art critics, by gallerists. Something so, I can't even put it into words. Basically, I would go to these shows of contemporary art and I knew that the emerging artists that they were showing were being shown because they had something I didn't. And being 22 at the time, I thought, oh, it's skill. They just have another skill level, or maybe it's something I need to learn, something that they know that I don't, so let me get more schooling, because I couldn't explain with words, but I knew that after leaving with a bachelor's degree, I could paint, but I was not a contemporary artist. So I went to study more painting, and I went to an atelier for like 5 years, thinking that at an atelier, I would better my painting skill, but I would also learn that's something that I don't know what that emerging artists had that I didn't. Maybe some kind of theory. I was basically looking for someone to tell me what I should paint. And I did that and it was so worth it. I recommend any painter that really loves painting to go to an atelier school. You have to. But after 5 years, I still didn't understand contemporary art. Basically what I got from the atelier is forget contemporary art. It was almost kind of worse than a bachelor's degree in painting, because there you see contemporary works that may be kind of not, that are dis-skilled, but are still powerful. In an atelier, forget contemporary art completely. We are just here just to paint. And basically the thing that finally made me leave the atelier and go to grad school was a conversation that I had with a professor, when he basically flat out told me contemporary painting is dead. Don't even bother. Those people can't paint. You need to stick to classical portrait, figure, academic stuff. That's real painting. And that was the day that I realized I have to go to grad school, because I could paint the atelier stuff no problem, but to me it was not enough. It was not mentally challenging anymore. In a way, it felt safe and impersonal. Like, it didn't really say anything about me or my life. It was just a well done painting of safe stuff. And looking back now, that kind of painting, it's beautiful. It captures your attention just because it's well done. But does it say anything about the painter? No, it doesn't. Other than you respect the tradition of paint. So I went to grad school, and 80K later, I finally understood what it is that I was missing, that other artists knew and that I didn't, and that made them create contemporary works. So long story short, this channel is gonna help you understand contemporary painting, from history to materials to how to navigate the art world and how it actually is. There'll be no sugarcoating. It's good to be an optimist, but sometimes it's also good to actually know how things are and take off your rose-colored glasses, and it will actually help you. Because YouTube is a funny thing. Like, there's so many different channels. You can learn how to paint here. You can learn about different art supplies, art history, everything that an artist needs to know, except for how to be a contemporary painter. And 5 years ago, that's what I was looking for. I wish that someone would tell me in an honest way and really explain to me how painting works, how contemporary art works, because it's not what we read in the art history books. It is not. And I really wish that before I went to grad school that I would have seen other artists actually talk about contemporary painting here. So that is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna explain to you what separates successful artists that are selling and the amazingly talented painters that can actually paint that are stuck in their studios and that are not getting shows. How to deal with feedback from critics. How to use your paint and the language of paint and the materiality, like the physical paint as a medium, and how you can use that alone as the subject of your painting. How to be more brave with your painting and actually tell a personal story, and how to make really personal work that other people are just gonna see and understand, and you won't even need to write the horrible artist statement that we all dread. It is just going to be understood instantly by the viewer. So basically a channel specifically for figurative artists, for figurative painters that paint in oil. And the advice that I'm going to give is going to be super specific to oil painters. If you're a graphic designer, illustrator, draftsman, sculptor, yeah, some things are going to be helpful, but this is specifically for a niche audience. This is the kind of stuff that I wish that I could have seen when I was a young artist, and that I feel is non-existent in most painting degree programs. But it's the one thing that young painters actually need to know to understand their work and to understand contemporary painting as a whole. Because I know when I was a young artist, I would open like New York Times and I would see Roberta Smith writing there, and I would read her art reviews and I would think, damn, this woman knows something I don't. There's another level to contemporary art that she knows. I would read her review and I would think, this is spot on. How did she come up with this? Like, I paint, I make paintings, but how is she, an art critic, able to look at the work and read it instantly? Because whatever she was writing, I was thinking too, I just couldn't put it into words. I didn't know why. She was so right. And I wanted to gain a deeper understanding of painting and contemporary art. And basically, that's what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna explain contemporary art and contemporary painting as a figurative painter myself to young painters. Because whatever Roberta Smith knows can be learned. It's just very, very hard to find in a traditional art school. But it is just as important as learning how to actually paint. And that's basically what I'm going to talk about here. Because it is one thing to go to an art school to learn skill in art history. But these things are just really the basics of being a contemporary painter. And all the other information that you actually really need to be a successful artist is pretty much impossible to find. And that's what I'm going to talk about